is the world like simply an illusion, or is it our understanding that actually creates the illusion?
Oh, that's the big question, right?
It really is. And I want to warmly welcome you to today's deep dive, where we're going to try and figure that out. Because today we're unpacking this really profound spiritual discourse. It's a live satsang from an enlightened teacher, Guru Sivayogi.
Yeah, and the mission for this deep dive is, well, it's basically to deconstruct this ancient concept of Maya.
Right. And, just to be clear up front, this isn't going to be some dense academic lecture. We're doing this because in our current age of just constant information overload, we really want to help you find some practical clarity and maybe a little joy, too.
Absolutely, because we live in a culture that's just so highly reactive. I mean, we're constantly being pushed and pulled by external events. And this text, it really strips away the mysticism to look at the mechanics of our reality.
Yeah, it really does. But before we get into what Maya actually is, I think we need to clear up what it isn't, because the source tackles this like right out of the gate.
Oh, yeah, the great misunderstanding.
Exactly. There's this incredibly common, almost fatalistic misunderstanding of Maya. People hear the phrase, everything is an illusion, and they instantly use it to mean that life is completely meaningless.
Right. It becomes this ultimate cosmic excuse.
Yes, an excuse to avoid responsibility.
Yeah. I mean, you see people adopting this attitude to shield themselves from pain, really. Like a relationship falls apart or they feel overwhelmed at work, and instead of taking accountability, they just shrug and say, well, it's all fate, it's all Maya.
Right.
Nothing matters anyway. Exactly. It just breeds this toxic apathy where you blame the universe. But the source text counters this with this really powerful analogy about a bubble.
Oh, the bubble analogy is so good.
It is. So imagine a bubble forming in a body of water. For this really brief window of time, it displays these beautiful magical colors, it catches the light perfectly,
Yeah?
and then inevitably it pops. It just dissolves right back into the exact same water it started from. I mean, its lifespan is incredibly short.
Okay, let's unpack this, because I can hear the cynic listening to this right now. If we were all just, essentially bubbles that are going to pop anyway, doesn't that entirely justify the meaningless argument? Why should you even care if it's all just going to dissolve?
Well, what's fascinating here is that the guru points out how we constantly equate permanence with value. We think that if something doesn't last forever, it must be meaningless.
Right, which is just a massive assumption.
Exactly. Temporary does not equal meaningless. Impermanence is a feature of life, It's not a flaw in the system. The bubble's beauty isn't somehow negated just because it has a short life.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So Maya means understanding this impermanence so you don't get crushed by it when things change.
Because if you delusionally convince yourself that the bubble is made of steel, you're going to be devastated when it pops.
Precisely. The guru actually says, life is not a problem. It is an opportunity for understanding. You don't need to conquer Maya. You just need to understand it.
Right. And so, having established that Maya isn't just this depressing empty void, we can actually look at the literal elemental definition of the word. Because there's some real scientific depth here.
Oh, absolutely. This part is fascinating.
Yeah. So the guru breaks down the syllables from this ancient spiritual mantra, Namashivaya. And they actually correspond to the 5 elements of nature.
Right. It's not just a chant. There's a structure to it.
Exactly. So Na represents water. Ma represents earth, or dust. Si represents fire. Va is air. And Ya represents space, or Akash.
And if we isolate the 2 syllables we're focusing on today, you have Ma and Ya.
Yes, Ma is dust. Ya is space.
So Maya literally translates to dust and space.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though.
Yeah.
Because if you think about modern physics, this perfectly mirrors what we know about the microscopic world. If you split an atom, what do you find?
Mostly empty space.
Right. Empty space and just dancing particles. And on a cosmic scale, the entire universe is vast space, and our Earth is literally just a speck of dust.
Yeah, we are quite literally just forms made of dancing dust occupying space.
It's wild to me that this ancient spiritual text is basically describing quantum physics.
It really is. But the guru takes it a step further ethically, because while these fundamental elements, the dust and the space, are eternal, the specific forms they take are temporary.
Right, the bubbles.
Exactly. And those fundamental elements are completely neutral. Like the sun giving light or the wind blowing, they don't discriminate. They serve everyone equally.
Unlike human prejudices.
Right. nature is pure. It's only our temporary forms, our egos, that create these artificial divisions.
Okay, but if we're essentially just made of this objective, non-discriminating dust and space, how do we end up experiencing such um, intense, messy emotions all the time?
Well, that comes down to perception,
Hmm.
which the guru explains using this really brilliant shadow analogy.
Oh, yeah, let's walk through that.
So, to see a shadow, you need three distinct things. First, you need light, which represents space or pure consciousness. Second, you need an object, which represents the dust or matter.
Okay, light and an object.
Right. And the interaction between those two creates the third thing, the projection, the shadow.
And Maya is that third thing.
Yes, Maya is the shadow. It's the projection created by consciousness interacting with matter.
And to make that even more relatable, the source uses this cinema analogy, which I just love.
Oh, it's so perfectly applied to our daily lives.
Right. So imagine you're sitting in a movie theater. Light shines through a lens and projects this massive 10-foot illusion onto a blank screen. And even though you logically know it's completely fake, it's just light and object, you still get completely sucked in.
Oh, entirely. You cry, you get furious at the villain.
Yeah, the text even jokes about how your mouth starts watering when you see the hero eating a plate of biryani on screen.
Yeah, your physiological response is totally real.
But wait, if our daily reality is just a movie projection, like a mix of light and object, are we just passive viewers getting tricked by our own minds? Because it feels like a VR headset, right? Your brain knows you're in your living room, but the zombie jumps at you and you physically duck.
Right. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, the illusion only controls you when you forget that you were in a theater.
That's a huge distinction.
It is. The guru explains that recognizing the cinema of your emotions allows you to detach from them. You can step back from the anger or the stress because you realize you're just yelling at a screen.
You stop blaming the villain on the screen.
Exactly. The text says, freedom begins the moment you stop blaming the world. You realize that the light of your own consciousness is generating the experience.
So it's about not being completely hijacked by the projection.
Right. The world doesn't need to change, your perception does.
Okay, so once you actually realize you're sitting in a movie theater, how do you live? Because you still have to go to work and, interact with people.
Yeah, and this is where the guru gets very practical, offering a really sharp critique of how superficial our society has become.
Ah, yes, the banana peel metaphor.
Yes. The text points out how people will blindly worship photos or just endlessly perform rituals without actually understanding them. Or they pursue an education solely to get a corporate job instead of seeking actual life wisdom.
Right. They mentioned the Macaulay education system specifically.
Yeah, a system built on memorizing rules rather than awakening intelligence. The guru compares this entire superficial approach to being handed a banana, and instead of eating the sweet fruit inside, you just chew on the bitter peel and throw the fruit away.
It's such a striking image. Like, why would you choose the bitter peel? But we do it because following external rules is so much easier than actual self-inquiry.
Exactly. And that leads to a huge misunderstanding about the true role of a guru. People think a spiritual teacher is there to just hand them the answers.
Like a cheat code for life.
Yeah. But a true guru doesn't give you ready-made answers. They teach you the alphabet. They give you A, B, C, D, and they teach you the grammar of life. But as for the actual poem, the story being written...
Who writes that?
You do. You have to write the poem yourself.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? It means you have total freedom, but also total responsibility. In that window between your appearance and your dissolution.
Yeah.
Between the bubble forming and popping.
Right. You're generating the meaning. And this actually ties into what the source says about the relativity of time, too.
I'm glad you brought that up. The movie theater time warp.
Exactly. If you're watching a great 3.5-hour movie, it just flies by in an instant. But if the movie is bad, it feels like an absolute eternity.
Yeah. Time totally bends to your level of conscious engagement.
It does. Which proves that you are generating the experience. This raises an important question, though. The ultimate question you have to ask yourself isn't, how do I escape reality?
Yeah.
The question is, did I live fully? Did I understand my purpose? Was I genuinely happy? A true teacher just holds up the mirror so you can ask yourself those questions directly.
Because no one can answer them for you.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay, let's bring all this together. We've taken a real journey today. We saw that Maya isn't some tragic illusion that we should use as an excuse to avoid life. It is literally the dancing interaction of dust and space.
Right. It's the cinema of life where you get to be both the audience and the author.
Yeah. You are given the alphabet, but the poem is yours to write.
And, understanding Maya doesn't mean you escape life. It means you finally begin to live it consciously. You take full responsibility for the meaning you create while you're here.
Yeah, you stop chewing on the banana peel.
Precisely.
Well, to wrap things up, I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over as you go about your day. If the canvas of your life really is temporary, and the universe has simply handed you the alphabet today, what is the very next line of the poem you are going to write?